Brandon Aiyuk in burgundy and gold. This is not some Twitter rumor that disappears in 12 hours. This is a move that Adam Peters has been quietly orchestrating for weeks, and if it goes down the way sources from Ashburn are suggesting, it completely changes the offensive geometry around Jaden Daniels in one single shot. But there is a layer underneath all of this that almost nobody in the DMV is processing yet, because while the rest of the league is debating whether Aiyuk arrives via trade or as a free agent, Peters already has the day two gem identified, the guy who solves the exact same problem from the inside at a fraction of the cost with a speed profile that flat out does not exist on this roster right now. And then after that, there is a move the Commanders just made off the field that looks like front office paperwork on the surface, but actually tells you everything about where this organization is heading and exactly why free agents are going to want to come to Washington before this decade is over. All of that is coming right now. If you trust Adam Peters and what is being built out in Ashburn, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the Real Commander Nation. Look, I'm going to keep it a buck with you from jump because that's what we do here. A post went viral this week that said, word for word, Brandon Aiyuk plans to sign with the Commanders when he gets released. And that was enough to send the entire fan base into a frenzy. I get it. I saw it too and stood frozen for about 2 seconds before I took a breath and said, hold on, let's break this down properly. First, the context. Aiyuk in San Francisco have been in a tense situation for months now. His contract is not easy to absorb. He's missed time on the field, and his trade value around the league is nowhere near what it was 2 years ago when he was putting up all-pro numbers every single week. That matters. That changes everything. Now, a proposed deal that circulated in the press had Washington sending a 4th round and a 7th round pick in exchange for Aiyuk plus a late selection. And the argument behind it is simple. If Aiyuk gets back to his best, that's a historically good trade. One analyst from Sports Illustrated even said Aiyuk has true wide receiver one upside and could potentially surpass Terry McLaurin in our offense. Bro, that is a lot. That is way too much. Terry's not going to let you say that without fighting about it. But here's the tactical piece that's really got me thinking. Last season, the Commanders averaged just 20.1 points per game. That's almost dead last in the league. Jaden Daniels is the future. That's not up for debate, but he needs weapons. He needs real spacing on the perimeter. He needs someone who forces defenses to make impossible decisions when the ball is snapped. And Aiyuk, at his best, does exactly that. His combination of technical route running, yards after the catch, and the ability to operate both outside and in the slot makes him a genuinely unique player. Now, what Adam Peters is doing right now is the correct move, man. They are not running to offer draft capital. They are not panicking. Washington's strategy is crystal clear. Wait it out. If San Francisco releases Aiyuk, the Commanders have the cap space and the genuine interest to sign him without giving up anything from the draft. That would be clean. That would be Peters operating at his coldest and most disciplined executive level. And listen, the connection with Jaden Daniels is not random either. Two players who came up through the same college football era, a receiver who thrives in systems built around pre-snap motion and creative design. That fits exactly what new offensive coordinator David Blau is going to build in Ashburn. The fit is not just hype. The fit has real tactical logic behind it. But how real is all of this right now? Look, I could be wrong, but I think there's more smoke than fire at this specific moment in time. A viral post is not confirmed news. What is real is the interest, the logic of the fit, and Peters' patience. If the 49 ERs move on from Aiyuk this offseason or during training camp, the Commanders are going to be front row and center. And honestly, that alone is enough to keep him on our radar. Zachariah Branch, write that name down right now, because if Nicky Jabvala from The Athletic is mentioning him as a potential Washington target on day 2, that is not just any rumor floating around social media. That is information with a real source behind it. Branch came to Georgia from USC as a transfer, and in his first season with the Bulldogs, he did something almost nobody does in the SEC. He led the entire conference with 81 receptions and led the whole FBS with an 87.1% catch rate. Y'all don't understand how hard that is to do. The SEC has the best corners in all of college football, and this man was cooking them week after week after week. Tactically, what gets me genuinely excited is his speed, 4.35 in the 40-yard dash, 7.8 yards after the catch per reception. Fam, that is not a player who just runs clean routes and waits around. That is a player who breaks tackles, creates his own separation, and turns short gains into explosive plays down the field. That is exactly what Jaden Daniels needs for his system to work at its highest level. Someone who converts quick hits into chunk yardage every single time. The fit in the slot is immediate. Think about it for a second. McLaurin outside, Branch in the slot, Okonkwo at tight end. That is a triangle of nightmare scenarios for any defensive coordinator in the league. Branch running crossing routes while McLaurin runs a post from the same side of the field is basically a legal pick play disguised as intelligent offensive design. Any corner who is not in perfect communication with his safety is going to get exposed badly. And yes, there was an arrest last week, 2 misdemeanor charges, basically for crossing the street in the wrong spot. The Athens Police Department has a documented history of treating minor situations like serious crimes. That does not excuse Branch from being smarter about his public image, but it also should not end his career before it even starts. Teams will do their character work, and if the report comes back clean, Washington could benefit from other teams getting scared and letting him fall all the way to day 2. The final piece I love about this is the versatility jet sweeps, orbit motion use out of the backfield. That gives the Commanders a completely new dimension in their running game. He's not just a wide receiver, he is a multi-layered offensive tool that offensive coordinator Blouf can deploy in 1,000 different ways within the system. If Branch falls to the 3rd round and Washington grabs him, that could easily be the best value play of this entire draft for this franchise. All right. This next one is not the kind of news that makes you jump off your couch screaming, but it is the kind of news that reminds you the Commanders under Josh Harris are building something much bigger than just a football team. Redwire Corporation, a space and defense technology company based out of Jacksonville, Florida, just announced a multi-year partnership with Washington. They are going to serve as the team's official drone technology partner. There will be stadium branding at Northwest Stadium, game day experiences, and dedicated recognition programs for active service members, veterans, and their families throughout the DMV. Redwire's CEO, Peter Canito, is himself a United States Marine Corps veteran. And Commanders President Mark Klaus made it clear that supporting the military community is a foundational priority for this organization. That is not empty marketing language. That is identity. In a market like the DMV, where there is an enormous concentration of military families and veterans, this kind of partnership connects emotionally with the community in a way that a standard beer sponsor simply cannot. It is smart. It is authentic, and it speaks to the type of organization the Commanders are actively becoming under this new ownership group. I am not asking you to lose sleep over this one, but I do want you to notice it, because the details of how an organization builds its brand off the field eventually become the details that attract players, resources, and a winning culture on it. Hey, look at where we are right now. Fam, hours away from the draft, with an Aiyuk rumor that has the entire fan base running mock roster simulations, with a Georgia receiver who could be the steal of day 2, and with an organization that keeps building its identity one brick at a time. This is not the same team it was 3 years ago, and the best is absolutely still coming. Tomorrow is draft day. Tomorrow we find out just how good Adam Peters really is when the cameras are rolling and the clock is ticking. And I am going to be right here with you breaking down every single pick in real time. If this has you as hyped as it has me, drop your like right now, subscribe if you have not already, and tell me down in the comments